Hi, Sinead, can you hear me?
Hello, yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can, yeah, that's good.
Okay, let me just...
Checking that everything's working, technology-wise.
Yes. Ooh,
Hi, Karen.
Hi.
Karen's just coming in, hi. Nice to see you. Oh, another one. Just starting letting people in now into the meeting room, so it might take a little bit of time. Hi, Karen. Can you hear me okay, Karen? Oh, you're not on there. I can't hear you, you're muted. That's okay, as long as you can hear me.
Yeah, can hear you fine.
Great, okay. Okay. Hi, Beverly.
Hello.
Hi, and hi, Natasha, as well. Welcome. I'm just letting people in at the moment. And I will get started quite soon. We don't have long, so I'll get started.
My friend Wendy said she should. My friend Wendy said she may be a bit late.
Okay.
So,
well hopefully, as you know, people come in, a little pop-up comes up saying admit somebody. So hopefully I'll spot that as I'm running through. But I do kind of want to get started as soon as possible because we don't have long. So it'd be great to get started pretty quick.
No, that's good. Excellent.
Well, welcome everyone. Just to let you know, with regards to any questions, please hang on to those till the end. What I'm going to do, I actually only get around 40 minutes of time on this Zoom link, and then I'll be cut off. But I will hang around for questions afterwards. So if you want to ask questions, please just click back on the link that you had before, and we can go back into the same room, and then I can answer any questions that you have. So just any questions that you have, just make a little note of them. Hopefully you've got pen and paper by you, and then I'll stay online to answer any questions that's needed. I'm also recording this, and I will upload it to my YouTube channel, which is called Belly Brain Solutions. So just to let you know, if you want to watch it again, or if you know that there's somebody that would really benefit from watching it, then you'll be able to watch it on my YouTube channel as well. That's just Belly Brain Solutions, but I'll be sending that link through on my Facebook page afterwards. But with regards to recording it, if you want to remain anonymous and don't want to be seen, there might just be a few little icons that can be seen in the sort of right hand corner of the slideshow. So if you don't want to be seen, just switch your video off. But if you're happy to be seen, it's nice to see some faces, to be honest. It's just nice not looking at a load of blank screens. It's nice to see your faces. Right, without much ado, I'm going to dive straight in and get started. As I said, we don't have a whole lot of time. So welcome to this free talk on improving your health through your gut. This is quite a popular topic at the moment, quite a hot topic, and it's something that people are, really, really excited and interested with. So I'm just going to minimize that down, so hopefully you can see the screen quite clearly. Hopefully you can all see that screen. Actually, let me just go back. What I need to do is, if I can ask you all to mute, that would be great, because obviously you don't really want to be hearing anyone. So if you can just all mute yourselves, that would be brilliant. Thank you very much. Okay, someone else just coming into the room. So where do we start? We're going to start with the microbiome, and maybe you've heard of this term. A microbiome is really just a collection of microbes, bacteria, funguses, viruses, parasites, and these can be in the soil or they can be anywhere. It's just a collection of microbes. But amazingly, we actually have a huge collection of these in and over our bodies. In fact, we have 2/3 of our microbiome is inside our gut, and 1/3 of our microbiome is over our skin. And a combination of all these microbes together in us and over us is actually around 90 trillion of them, which is quite an amazing statistic. That is actually 1,500 times more humans than there are on the planet, all squashed into your belly. And there's actually more than there are people in Britain on one of your fingertips. Obviously, they are microscopic. It would be a bit frightening if they weren't. But yes, so we have these microbes in and over us. And there are actually within our body 10 trillion human cells. So by cell count, we are actually only 10% human. And with regards to all of these different microbes that we have, there are 5,000 different species. And in fact, this number constantly increases. Sometimes I hear the number of 10,000 being told that are actually out there within our systems. And but we haven't named all of these yet. So this is quite a new discovery. Really, the microbiome has only really come into new knowledge in science since about 2002. So it's quite new science. But even more interestingly, when we focus on genes, it becomes even more interesting, because by gene count, we have a number of 21,000 human genes in our body, and our genes are a section of our DNA. But 21,000 sounds like quite a lot, doesn't it? But actually, it's not that much when you consider that a humble water flea has 31,000 genes. And a rice plant has 42,000 genes. So how do we run this incredibly complex human body with such a small relative number of genes? And can you just mute your phone? Let's go back and mute her. There we go. I've just muted her. Okay. Yeah, so by gene count, we have these 21,000 human genes, but it's actually quite a small number. But actually, when we look at our microbes, they house between them 4.4 million genes, which means that by gene count, we are actually only 0.5% human. We actually have 4 kilos of bacteria in our gut at any one time, and we have consumed the equivalent of 5 African elephants worth of bacteria before we die. And it sort of beggars the question, who's in charge here? Like, who's modulating our bodies? Are we humans with a lot of bacteria, or are we bacteria having a human experience? So these reside in our gut. Our gut is a tube that stretches from our mouth to our anus, which is 9 meters long. And if we were going to open this gut up, it would actually be the size of a tennis court. So it's a huge area that's actually stuffed inside of ourselves. When you actually look at it in a bit more detail, we have this upper gut and a lower gut. And the upper gut, it goes from our mouth into our esophagus, into our stomach. And you can see on this diagram that it then empties into this small intestine, which is this green wiggly bit in the middle. And then it goes on to the large intestine, which is the colon, which goes round to the rectum and the anus. But the majority of our good bacteria reside in this brown bit in the colon. And this green bit in the middle should be relatively sterile. We shouldn't have many microbes in our small intestine. In fact, if we do have microbes in there, they tend to be the bad ones which cause us problems. The small intestine itself, if you cast your mind back to your biology lessons at school, had these little villi that stick up. That's what increases the surface area, that allows us to get a tennis court inside of us. But what's interesting about here, you can see on this diagram that there's only one cell thick, that protects us from the outside world to the inside world. So it's really, really important at this interface between the outside world and the inside world that immune surveillance is on high alert. And that is why, with regards to our gut, our immune system lines our gut, and actually 80 to 85% of our immune cells are actually located in our gut wall. Also within our gut wall lines our nervous system. And this is what communicates messages around our body through neurotransmitters. But our gut actually has a nervous system called the enteric nervous system. And it has a vast number of neurons. In fact, it's only just second to the brain with the number of neurons that are actually within our gut in the enteric nervous system. And the other thing that's lined within our gut is the endocrine system. This is what houses all our hormones. And the gut is the largest endocrine organ in the body. So we can see that if our gut isn't functioning terribly well, our immune system is going to be affected, our nervous system is going to be affected, and our endocrine system is going to be affected. So when do we first meet these microbes? Well, It's when we're born. In fact, scientists believe that before birth we are relatively sterile, and then when we're born, we actually get our first introduction to our microbes. But it does depend on how we're born. Are we born vaginally or through C-section? So if we're born vaginally, we will actually get a good dose of microbes from our mother. But if we're born by C-section, it will be the doctor and the midwives that handled us, the skin cells and the microbes from there that will actually start colonizing. And in the right conditions, these microbes can divide every 20 seconds, sorry, every 20 minutes, which means that in just 7 hours, one bacterium can generate over 2 million bacteria. So they generate very, very quickly and they grow very quickly. So from birth, we are constantly cultivating these microbes. And their job really is to teach the immune system what is friend and what is foe. Because if you think about it, these microbes come with a huge intelligence because they come from our mother, they come from our mother's mother, and they come through history. And they have this huge intelligence to tell us what is good and what is bad. So they teach our very, very new and basic immune system what is friend and what is foe.
Oh.
Let me just go to Louise and Rita. So Louise, could you just mute yourself, please? That would be great. Thank you. So what is this relationship that we have then with our microbes? Well, it's this symbiotic relationship. In fact, ever since the start of time, we've worked together with these microbes, and they're kind of like imposter cells hitching a ride on our bodies. They're highly organized and they're highly intelligent. And there are different types. There's beneficial and there's opportunistic. It's kind of like a war zone down there. What we don't want is the opportunistic one, which is the bad ones, to grow out of control. So we need to have as many beneficial as possible because they can kind of keep the bad ones under control. Their job, as we know, is to communicate with the immune system. Their job is also to break down food and synthesize vitamins. And their job is also to cleanse and maintain the integrity of the gut lining. So you can imagine if the microbes, the bad ones, are growing out of control, these opportunistic ones, we might actually have damage to our gut lining. And this is in something called, this has created something called leaky gut syndrome, which again, some of you may have heard of, or it's actually called intestinal permeability. And it's actually causing a lot of modern day symptoms, modern day problems, because we have this leaky gut. And that is a result of the fact that our microbes are not able to actually do this job of cleansing and maintaining the integrity of our gut wall. They're very delicate, obviously they're microscopic and they're easily damaged. And when they're damaged, what happens is we get something called dysbiosis. And what happens with dysbiosis is we have an imbalance of good and bad bacteria. We have too many bad and not enough good. And these bad ones tend to sit in our upper gut and they ferment in our upper gut, causing us lots and lots of problems. The other thing that happens if we have this fermentation of bad microbes in our upper gut and the immune system is put on high alert. Remember that we have 85% of our immune cells in our gut. So these go on high alert and they start sending off an inflammatory response. And we know what that's like because say if you cut your finger, it might get a little bit red, it might get a bit inflamed, and that's exactly what happens in your gut. And these immune cells will be firing off and traveling all around our body, sending inflammation around our body. And this inflammation can travel anywhere in our body. It can travel into our joints, it can travel into our brain. And the thing is, what happens is damage can show up in many places. So it can show up in our stomach as IBS, or even worse, IBD, an inflammatory bowel disease. It can show up on our skin as eczema or acne or rosacea or psoriasis. It can show up in our joints feeling stiff and aching. It can show up in our nervous system as fatigue, and it can show up in our brain as anxiety or depression. So how have we damaged these? Well, it's down to the amount of toxins that we now have in our environment. These exotoxins, which are substances that enter our body and they should not naturally occur there. And what happens is they then confuse the signaling that goes on within and between our cells. In fact, the Environmental Protection Agency has now registered more than 90,000 of these exotoxins in our environment. And to be honest, it's a wonder that our bodies work at all, having to battle all these toxins that are in our environment. We find them in things like paints, carpets, furniture, heavy metals, factory emissions, microwaves, Wi-Fi radiation. We also find them in laundry detergent, cleaning products, lotions, potions. In fact, one of the most toxic things that we put onto our body is perfume. We find them in our amalgam fillings, mercury. We find them in our medicines. We are a pill-popping people. We take far too many of them. And there's lots of toxins in our medicines. And we also find them in antibiotics. The story of antibiotics is a very long and complex one. But just to let you know that it actually came out in 1942. The first bit of penicillin saved someone's life. And ever since there, the Americans started using antibiotics to help their animals grow faster and to keep them alive longer and to keep them healthy. That sort of started in the 1950s, and very quickly Europe followed suit. So for the last 50 years, we've been putting antibiotics into our livestock to keep them well. This all happened until 2006 as a result of some EU legislation. It did stop, but the Americans still to this day use antibiotics in their livestock. And the statistic that I've heard is around 80% of Americans' antibiotics are used in their livestock. So these antibiotics are obviously in our animals, but unfortunately they've also got into our soil because the manure from animals is spread over our soil and obviously then contaminates the microbiome in our soil. So all our fruits and vegetables have also been contaminated with small doses of antibiotics, and not just antibiotics, steroids as well, which they also pump into animals. And the thing is, our body needs to expel all of these toxins, and expels it by 4 main mechanisms. And the acronym that I use is PURE. P stands for perspiration, when you sweat. U is urination, and that's obviously through your kidneys. R is respiration, and that's breathing through your lungs. And E is excretion, and that's from your liver into your bile, into your gut and out. But your body has to get rid of all these toxins. And in fact, antibiotics, obviously, you know, they're fantastic things because they do save millions and millions of lives and have in the past saved millions of lives. But if you have a dose of antibiotics, it's kind of like dropping a bomb in your guts, because antibiotics, their job is to kill microbes, but they are indiscriminate. You know, they don't just kill the bad ones, they will kill all of them. And another way that we get toxins into our body is obviously, very sadly, through our food. You see, 70 years ago, when we shopped, we didn't have fridges and freezers. So we shopped every day. We shopped every day at our local grocery store where there was local organic produce. If we didn't do that, we had at the end of our garden an allotment where we actually grew all our own fresh, local, organic produce. But after World War II, women wanted to go to work, and the fridge and the freezer was then in our kitchens. And it allowed us then to not, you know, have to go out to the shops daily. We could actually wait a week for our shopping so we could put it in the fridge. And therefore the food industry was kind of under pressure to provide food with a shelf life. So what did they do? They dried it, they added salt, they added sugar, and they put it on our shelves. And sadly, this is kind of what our shelves look like today, unrecognizable to what they were 70 years ago. And the problem is with our diet, with these refined sugars that we're now finding in our diet, is that there is too little fiber and too much sugar, and these bad bugs just explode.
Is that the seminar?
Yeah.
So Kay, could you just mute
That's
yourself?
I've missed it, and it's 15 minutes I've missed.
You done? Yeah, done it. Okay. Also, what's happened is this sort of intensive farming and industrialization of our food. You know, our crops are sprayed with chemical insecticides, fertilizers and pesticides. We have additives added to our foods and preservatives and artificial sweeteners. And food is kind of being created for taste and not for health. So, you know, we make the food industry makes money out of making food taste good. So by adding sugar to it, it tastes good and they're going to make more money, but actually it's not really being great for our health. Food is also picked far too early, well before natural ripening, which means that the sort of nutritional value of our food has been depleted. The microbiome of the soil has been depleted, as has the nutritional value of all of our foods. And here's just a little bit of research that was done by a Swiss survey, and they just compared the vitamin and mineral content of some fruits and vegetables between 1985, comparing it to 2002. And you can just see here, this is just over, what, 17 years? And you can see that the calcium, for example, in a broccoli is down 73%. The amount of vitamin C, for example, in a strawberry is down 87%. The amount of folic acid in a banana is down 79%. So I'm not going to go through the whole chart, but you get the picture that we now have this nutritional depletion of our fruits and our vegetables. And we're kind of being overfed, but nutrient deficient. And as a result of all of these, it's kind of led to a rise in what are now being called 21st century conditions. And they kind of look a little bit like this. One of the main ones that we're discovering is digestive issues. So many people have these things that are listed across the top, and there's a huge percentage of the population that are suffering. And as a result, there are many other conditions that are now on the increase. And a lot of people with these conditions also have digestive issues. So you can kind of see the link between the digestive system and other conditions that are now on the increase. These are all exponentially on the rise, growing out of control. You're probably all aware, obviously, of obesity, and you're aware of diabetes and heart disease, but there are many other things here as well that are causing problems. For example, autism. It's not just our physical health, it's our mental health that's being affected. Autism, anxiety and depression, sleep issues, chronic fatigue, cognitive problems, dementia. These are all on the increase. And scientists are now calling them NCDs, non-contagious diseases. And these kind of are the new normal. Now, if you don't have one of these things on this list, I can guarantee that you'll know someone that does. And it's not old age either. It's not old age that's creating these diseases. It's young people that are also having these conditions. So what can we do about it? Well, we need sort of a complete lifestyle overhaul, really. What we need to try and do is reduce our toxic load and eliminate toxins from our body. They're the things that we really need to focus on. So there are many ways of doing it, but what I always tend to start with a majority of my clients is a 21-day program, which really sort of kickstarts their health and gets them on a program to good health. And the program that I use is actually called Purify. You take 5 different supplements, but in addition, you are also eliminating inflammatory foods from your diet. So you're eliminating things like dairy, gluten, starchy foods, alcohol, caffeine. These things are all coming out of your diet for the 21 days, but in addition, you are taking these supplements. You'll find that you have a bit of a detox reaction. So for the first few days, you might not feel too great, and that's because these microbes that you've been feeding with dairy, gluten and sugar and alcohol and caffeine, they all start to die off, and they die off pretty quickly. Remember, they're quite delicate, so they die quite fast, and they die off quite quickly. And when they die, they release their toxins into your body, and hence you feel unwell. But this only takes a few days, and very slowly you start to feel the benefits of being on the program. And the 5 supplements come from a company called Synergy Worldwide, which is a first-class company when it comes to production of supplements. And what they've done here is they've created a program which actually works specifically to healing the gut and healing the microbiome, healing the leaky gut, and healing all those systems in your body, your immune system, your nervous system, and your endocrine system. And all 5 of the supplements work synergistically together. One of the supplements is called Body Prime, and it's actually to get your bowels moving. It has magnesium oxide in it, which actually helps with muscular contractions in the gut to get the bowel moving. It's also got prune powder and apple pectin in it, so it sort of does what it says on the tin and gets all these toxins starting to move out of your body. One of the other supplements is called Biome DT. What that has in it is zinc and L-glutamine. Zinc actually helps to eliminate POPs, which are persistent organic pollutants, which we find in our bodies because they're coming into our bodies from the atmosphere, from around us. And it also has L-glutamine, which is an amino acid which really helps to heal the leaky gut. So you find when you start taking this supplement that all your guts just completely settles down. It has a probiotic in it called Biome Actives, but this probiotic has also prebiotics in it. So probiotics are our good microbes, which we're now adding to the gut, and prebiotics is what they feed on. They feed on fiber. That's what a prebiotic is. And in this probiotic, the prebiotic is inulin. There's a shake as well, which helps to, it's actually a meal replacement. So you can have it for breakfast or for lunch. And it actually is full of vitamins, minerals, amino acids, fatty acids and fiber. So all of these are added into the shake. And particularly if it's something that you want to do is lose weight, then the Biome shake is very filling, but very, very low in carbohydrates. So it's really, really good to have to help you with your weight loss. And the fifth supplement they have is called ProRG9. ProRG9 is an amazing product. It actually has a amino acid in it called L-arginine. And what L-arginine does is it converts in the body to nitric oxide. And nitric oxide has been renowned for its contribution to heart health. In fact, discovery of two scientists in 1998 won the Nobel Prize for their discovery of L-arginine and how it can convert into nitric oxide and then improve heart health. So the reason why this is on the program is it increases blood flow. So it will get more blood of bringing all the good nutrients that you're now eating to your body and will help remove the toxins through the blood and get them out of your body. So they're the 5 supplements that are on the program. And the results of it, so what happens? Well, people will lose weight on the program. It all depends on whether you're interested in weight loss or not. If you're not, you don't have to lose weight. You can just eat lots and lots of all the good food. But if you want to lose weight, you can do. I've had some people lose up to 1.5 stone in the 21 days, purely because that was their goal of the program. But then I also find that people maintain it afterwards because they completely change their lifestyle and eating habits. So it helps maintain what they've lost and they continue to lose weight after the program as well. It calms your gut. You get much more mental clarity, it gives you energy and you genuinely just feel happier. I'm just going to play a little video now so I can stop talking for a bit. And this will just, it's just 3 minutes long and it just gives you a few testimonials of some clients that have actually done this program.
Before Purify, I didn't have a life. I was simply existing. Low-level feeling of anxiety. My sleep was terrible.
Gout I was getting in my feet.
I was suffering from IBS and diverticulitis.
Had bloated belly, had acid reflux going on.
I was 16 stone, being told I was pre-diabetic.
So I was in a really dark place, suffering from anxiety and depression.
I was just dragging myself around.
I just felt like I was failing and I was gaining weight. I was tired all the time.
Feeling tired all the time, in a constant state of being overwhelmed by anything.
Lack of discipline. Because I'm not very good at sticking at things generally.
The only fear was that it wasn't going to work.
I do have a plant-based diet, and so I'm quite choosy about what I do eat. Giving up some habits and crutches that are kind of snuck in, things like the coffee and the alcohol.
I did love my morning coffees and my evening glasses of wine. So I was open to it, but I was a bit nervous about it. And of course all those fears were unfounded and I managed to follow it really quite easily.
It was really easy to follow.
The program was amazing, completely life-changing.
I think the products were really pleasant to taste.
I did feel real changes quite early on. I really liked the structure of it. I really liked the accountability throughout. I really did help me keep on track.
My eating habits have changed completely. I really enjoyed the support that I got from obviously my mentor and the WhatsApp support groups.
I felt so refreshed when I woke up in the morning. bouncing out of bed and full of energy.
Get out of bed and I'm motivated, I'm productive, I have clarity and focus.
I feel the best I've ever felt. I had no idea it was possible to feel this well. I have so much more energy and I can cope with a whole lot more stuff. I process so much more information.
That feeling of anxiety is gone.
I've lost over 2 stone.
Depression and anxiety as a distant memory. And physically, I feel great.
It's like having my own self back. That's how it felt like to me.
No longer pre-diabetic.
One of my autoimmune diseases has literally gone away. I've had biopsies, it's no longer there. My metabolism has sped up significantly and I feel like I'm 10 or 15 years younger.
Go for it. Don't carry on living with health issues that impact your everyday life.
It comes with a full 90-day money-back guarantee. Just do it.
It's such a difference to my health. I cannot even begin to tell you.
Just go for it. It's amazing.
It has changed my life completely, and I'm so glad.
Take charge, do the program, go for it. It's awesome.
It's the best thing that I've ever done. Just do it.
Believe in the program and have confidence that you are giving yourself the best possible gift to look after well-being for now and for the future.
So that just gives you an idea on, you know, what the outcomes are as a result of doing this program. And that's just a handful of people. I've taken hundreds of people through this program and it does make a huge difference to their lives. I've done it a number of times myself as well. If you do choose to do the program, you get my support for the full 21 days throughout the program. And there's also a lifestyle analysis questionnaire which comes with it. If you're interested in doing this, then please, I'm going to put my email address up in a moment and you can send me an email. I can send you this questionnaire and you can complete it and send it back. And what it does is it assesses 9 different systems in your body and it gives you a picture of your health as to where it is now. And then what we do is we run the questionnaire once we've done some work with you to see how your systems have improved. So that might be something that you'd like to do, but you don't have to do that. You know, what's great about this program is it does kickstart you, it gives you structure and it gets you into a good place very quickly. You may want to take your time and do it a bit slower, which means that you can just, you know, do these things without being on this program and make changes in your own time. The effects aren't quite as quick, but it is something that you can also consider. So that's my email address if you want to make a note of that. If you've got any questions, anything you want to ask me, please pop it through on there. I also have a website which is called Andrea Bremner Nutrition. If you want to take a look at that, it gives you a bit more information about what I do. And now what I'm going to do is just come back in for some questions. I only have a few more minutes left within the Zoom call. So if suddenly we do cut out, then please just click on the link that you were on and I'll let you back into the room again and then we get another 40 minutes together if we wanted to. So I'm now going to stop sharing my screen and come back to you guys. And please, if you have any questions, just unmute yourselves.
Hi, it's Bev. So I've got a couple of friends that I think would perfectly need to do this. Yeah. How can I tell them what to look at or what to, you know, just to listen to that video maybe, or,
yeah, you
know, just to whatever, you know what I mean?
So with this recording now, I'm recording it and I'm going to upload it onto my YouTube video, which is Belly Brain Solutions. So they'll be able to watch it again on Belly Brain Solutions.
Yeah.
Or, you know, just give them my email address, you know, and I'm very happy to help them that way as well. I can just give them the link or whatever.
Yeah, and also your Facebook, it's on Facebook, so I could just share that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I will. I'll put it onto my Facebook group as well. I'll put the link to the video on the Facebook group so that people. I wanted to live stream it actually from Zoom, but I wasn't able to, so I thought, oh, I'll just upload it to YouTube, and then everyone will be able to watch it on there.
Excellent. Right, thank you. Yeah, I'll do that.
Anyone else got any questions you'd like to fire away with?
Yes, Andrea. So if somebody was to do this program, and they obviously start to feel better, see the benefits, it's not something you're going to sustain, is it? I wouldn't have thought all of the time. So how often would you suggest somebody might do this? So they do the 21 days, they feel great. What would you say after that?
Okay, so when you do the 21 days, first of all, you have an hour's meeting with me, and I basically talk you through the program, explain all the foods, give you some ideas of recipes and things that you can have throughout the 21 days. Once the 21 days are over, we then have a maintenance meeting. So once it's finished, I don't just then drop you in the dark and let you get on with your life. Obviously, some people just feel so fabulous that they get a bit worried that they're going to go back to normal life and it's all going to change and all go horribly wrong. So we want to make sure we maintain it. So there is kind of a maintenance program that I will put you through, which will be really very much following the diet that you have followed. So you'll be eating all of those foods, but there are many other tips to the trade that I will then pass your way to make sure you continue doing this. But I do still find, even when clients do that they tend to want to do the 21 days twice a year, just because they know it's a really good rebalancer. It just gets the microbiome back in the good place, and then they're ready to go, really. So yeah, twice a year, definitely once a year, I would recommend.
Okay, thanks.
Excellent. Anyone else want to unmute and ask any questions? Okay, excellent. Right then, guys. Well, lovely to see you all, and
thank you very much for doing a chat for us.
Oh, you're very welcome. Glad you've enjoyed it, and hope you've all benefited from it. And please, if you got any concerns, questions, or whatever, then just pop it on an email, andrea@andreabremner.co.uk.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Take care. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Thanks.